back to another video at Trading IQ, where we will learn the unlimited nature of the stock market. This is Shourabh Bhattacharjee, and in today's video, we're going to learn a very important aspect. It is very important when it comes to analyzing stocks. Now, you know that I only use technical chart to analyze the overall market, and then from there the different sectors, and then from there on we will analyze different stocks. I have already shared my trading plan and how I arrive at a decision in terms of which stock to buy and which stocks to stay away from. So I'll paste the link on the I button where I have analyzed and I have shared my detailed trading plan that I shot last year. So in today's video, we're going to find out a very important aspect, which is how can you spot activities of institutional investor from a technical chart. So to analyze this, we need a stock and a technical chart. So I'm going to use a stock that I own in my portfolio, and I'm going to share the reason why I own this stock, and I'm going to also share my perspective on how I find out the institutional investors' activities on this particular chart. And I have some data and fact that I want to share with you. So this is what we can only speculate. This is not a given fact. You cannot know for sure that there has been some activities by the institutional investors. By the way, what do we mean by institutional investors? It means that whoever is investing, that is a corporation. That is not a retail investor, like not a single person's money. It is a corporation's money, means a mutual fund house, a foreign institutions, or money managers, or hedge fund managers, and different other institution houses in India and in foreign countries. So they all invest in, and we call them institutional investors. Now, how can we speculate, and how am I speculating this on this chart? Let's look at this. So this is the chart of Zee Entertainment, and on this chart we will try to identify some key levels as well as how can we spot activities of institutional investors. Like as I just mentioned earlier, that we can only speculate about it, right? And for speculation we need some data. Now, technical chart is of course a collection of all human behavior, like all living souls who is participating on this particular chart. You can see the behavior by the chart pattern, right? That is what a technical chart tells you, the collective human behavior on a given chart. But to find out or to speculate on institutional investors' activities, we need some more data, right? To kind of solidify the fact that we are speculating the right thing, right? So I'll also share some data and some news, some facts alongside the technical chart, like outside of the technical chart. So here, let's look at and try to understand using Stan Weinstein stage analysis. So Zee Entertainment was in stage 4 for a very prolonged time. From April or March 2018 time period, it saw a huge decline, and so it was in stage 4 for a very long time. So after stage 4, how can we identify when stage 1 started? When the moving average is not declining from here onwards, right? And it is moving upward. So that is an indication wherein we see some strength, and you see some grouping of volume here. And I want you to take a very close look at the volume pattern, right? I just scrolled down and wanted you to see the whole picture of this company. So let's look at the volume pattern. So these are the candles that represent the transaction amount that took place on that given week. So since we are looking at this on a weekly time frame, on say 21st April 2008, we see a volume of about 20.659 million. You see the volume on the top left. Now here around this, when it started to move upwards, the moving average, you see the volume, the huge spike of volume, 278 million around 24 August 2020. And here the grouping of volume seems very, very interesting when you compare it with the past activities. you see a heavy group of volume here, right? So there is something going on. Now, of course, all the stocks were recovering from the COVID-19 situation, and it was similar with Z as well. Now, there is another activity that I want you to take a close look at. So after stage 4, stage 1 happens, and it has been confirmed by the activities of the moving average when it went upward, right? And then it started to form sort of a channel. So it was hovering around this 235 level for a very long time, and it touched that level couple of times, like 3 times, right? And then eventually it broke out of that level on the week of September 13th, 2021. And you see the volume. The volume is 5. Again, the volume is 544 million. And this has been by far the biggest volume spike in this company throughout its history, right? So there has to be something going on because of this volume spike. Of course, these volume spikes, you could say that all of the companies were recovering, and then Z also recovered, right? So, but then this is a significant amount of volume that you see. Consecutive 2 weeks is like 544 and then 479 million. About 1 billion in just 2 weeks, right? About 1 billion. So something was going on. Now, subsequently, there was a news, which is Sony merged with Z. And that's a huge news. You can search more facts about it. According to this article, Sony will hold majority of the stake in the merged company Z promoter family to own 3.99% with an option to increase the stake up to 20% for the market. So this is the biggest news in the media industry. And during the time of the pandemic, all the digital media was doing pretty well. You could see TV18. It has also spiked up very big time. I would share that in some other video. But these two volumes signifies a very important thing, which is that we could speculate that 1 billion out of nowhere it has come to the market on Z, wherein in the previous throughout its history, it never saw such volume spike ever in the history. And there was this merger news that Sony will merge with Z. That's a huge news. Now, there is another aspect to whether we are right in terms of what we are speculating. Whether it's an activity from institutional investors or it's just someone is doing pump and dump, right? It's very common in the stock market. Like they would pump the price up and then they will sell it at the higher level, and then all other retail investor will trap into those higher prices, and then the person who is the entity who is doing pump and dump. There are institutions who also do pump and dump because they have the capital to do it. But 1 billion amount is pretty significant. Now there's another point to look at. So I'm going to also share some of the charts where we could easily see pump and dump, right? We could see the volume spike, the huge volume spike, but then it could not sustain. Now let's look at the sustainability of this particular stock. So after this huge spike, of course, the bear market started, and then with that, every other market will accordingly be under pressure, and then it is in stage 4 currently. It is in sort of hovering around, and we could argue that it is in stage 4 or stage 3, right? But then it is still sustaining this level which it broke out of. So this huge volume that you see, it started around if you see the opening of that candle is 183. So we could say that this is the time where institutional investors started to buy and enter into the stock. And you see this level is protected. See, institutional investor cannot take a loss. They just cannot. They have the money. Of course, with some they would take intellectual losses. They have a lot of tools, they have a lot of data to analyze from. for a given stock. So they will never take a loss like a retail trader would take, right? They would take a loss when they think that this is not the stock they would stay in, or stay invested. But for a mutual fund, they cannot just go into a stock, $1 billion put into a stock, and then they cannot get out the next day, like a retail trader would do. Buy a stock and then something happens and then they get out of the stock. I did that n number of times. I cannot tell you how many number of times I did that, but I'm improving. So here, what I'm trying to say is that this is holding out this level, this 180 level. So I bought it around 230, 235, and then I'm looking at this for a very long-term investment, right? Again, this is not an investment idea. It's just my perspective on how I plan things and how I buy based on a predetermined level. So this level was on my chart for a very long time, and then when it broke out of this level, I even did a video. I could not get a chance to buy it. I thought of buying it around this area, but then I had different things going on in the stock market, right? I could not. So again, when it came down to this level, I'm at this level. Like I bought at this level. So my plan is that if it goes below, right, I would again buy at 180, because I see that this is the level the buying started to take place, right, around this level 180. If it goes below that, then I'll take some loss and get out of the stock. This is my plan, and I'm here for a long term, and based on my speculation, I would feel that over a long term I could see a huge potential bull run on this particular stock because of the news and because of the institutional investors' participation, if I'm speculating the right way. So this is how you would speculate. Of course, this is all speculation. No one can tell you in things for certain in the stock market. They all can speculate. So this is a key activity. So volume, again, Stan Weinstein. If you read the book, the Profiting from Bull and Bear Market, you could understand the volume pattern from the book. Like whichever stocks that did well based on his prediction, it all had huge breakout with significant volume, and that's what Stan Weinstein emphasizes on his book, that you got to buy the stocks which broke out of a certain level from stage 1 to stage 2 with significant volume. And you can see it for yourself, right? 1 billion volume in just 2 weeks. It did not happen throughout its history, right? So it's something I thought it was significant, and I thought of kind of entering into that level. I'm not again suggesting that you should do that, because it's my thorough research, it's my perspective, right? You should have your perspective. You can use my perspective and then analyze based on whatever trading plan that you're using. And if you see fit, then of course you can buy based on your trading plan. So this is the thing that I wanted to share, and I have a lot of other stocks that I would like to share in my upcoming videos. I have a lot of predetermined level. I am looking at a lot of stocks, so I'll come up with different videos weekly. So I would request you to please subscribe to this channel, and if you like this video, please like this as well. It helps me a lot, and I will see you guys on my next video. Thank you. Have a great day.